Welcome back to In the Oven with Adam and Brad.
What up?
We have a little bit of a time constraint today.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. We'll fill you in on that in a second about everything going on with Fat and Weird. I also have to check in for a flight in about an hour, so that's kind of what we're up against right now. But as far as Fat and Weird goes, we're trying to get out 40,000 cookies this week.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And we've probably only gotten out 6,000-7,000 so far. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 days to get out the other.
Yep. Got to be hustling and bustling. But record sales month so far. Month's not even over.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to us.
Yeah, I know, right?
So now we got to wait to collect on it.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. We're not.
Yeah, and then again, I think you guys know that normally we record on Tuesdays, but today is Thursday and we're recording because Adam was gone Monday and Tuesday to a conference for Benny Keith.
Yeah, so we had the Benny Keith sales conference. Well, we were up there with the Cisco before that, so a little travel, travel, touch and go. But yeah, big stuff for the brand. Very exciting. We were up in the Atlanta area, which is near enough to where our co-manufacturer was. So got to see our co-man, do some touches there, and then shoot back over to kind of meet all the Cisco sales reps who are going to be selling our product at food service side of the world in the Southeast. And got a day back at home, and then shot over to Biloxi for the Benny Keith version, where we actually got to meet the suppliers of Benny Keith. So that was pretty cool, kind of the opposite. We met the sellers, and then we got to meet the providers, if you will, the suppliers. So very cool things. Obviously, we mix a ton of fun stuff into our cookies, and we met a bunch of people that have fun things that might work out in the future. So.
Yeah, and apparently Lacey found out about a different expo that's up in Indianapolis that's literally just for inclusions and things like that.
So it's crazy. So we're looking at, the management side of all things on the business world, right? You guys understand that we buy a product so we could save money there by going with better products or faster or cheaper or whatever. So we can chase margin there. But of course we have a standard too. So we also have the ability to meet these new people who are just willing to possibly pack things differently for us. Right. So we scoop things out of small containers here. If they'll put them in bigger containers, then it's easier for us to handle, and then we can chase margin over there. So
yeah, and we're getting to the volume that we can start getting people to make stuff specific to us, which is nice because we are really, getting to the spot where we can start making cookies that no one else can make. Obviously it's difficult for people to make the cookies we make because I'm not even sure if people can get the ingredients we get.
You would have to jump through a lot of hoops. Our volume, our presence on the internet has got us in the doors.
Some of the Hershey's products you can't buy it, like the Hershey's caramel you can't buy it in stores.
I know.
So,
and we're also at the point now though too where our volume is such that just so you guys know, just like when we run cookies, they run product too. The size of the manufacturer, the size of the run. Well, when you order enough, you can say, hey, I want you to sprinkle a little of this in there or sprinkle a little of that. Just like DoorDash was able to do with our cookie and come up with a custom flavor. We're getting to the point where we can start asking these people to come up with custom flavors that then, nobody can get a hold of. And that's really cool. So
yeah, so a lot of fun stuff on the horizon for us. But Adam's birthday's tomorrow.
That's right.
So he has that. And then I actually fly out tomorrow morning. And Aubrey and I are heading to Houston for the HydroJug event, which I know people can see the big box of HydroJugs over there. And then that's actually Aubrey's collection box right there.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So that launches on Saturday. So Friday night we're going to have a dinner with them and then some of our friends that are coming in from, even Dallas and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then Saturday morning, there's a pop-up. And then after that, we'll head down to Galveston and stay in the Airbnb with my mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, and niece and nephew.
Yep.
It's quite a bit of us to go on this trip.
And then cruise time.
Yeah, cruise time. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for this. This is Ariel's, my sister's, first cruise in 5 years.
Oh, wow. All right.
And Aubrey was like, hey, you want to go get a pedicure before the cruise? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. I haven't gotten a pedicure in 3 years. I'm like, Ariel, you need to take care of yourself.
Self-maintenance, girl. Self-maintenance.
So, and for those that don't know, here, Ariel just got done with her radiation treatment probably 5-6 months ago. And so far she's cancer-free. I guess the term for that, is that remission? I mean,
I believe so. I don't know. I don't want to speak
It's before they officially say you're not.
You guys want to comment if you know, let us know. But yeah, dude, scary times, but I don't have any wood to knock on. Thank the Lord, anyways, that she's okay so far. So
yeah, getting through it all.
It's awesome.
And something else we wanted to do differently on the podcast is do a couple of like reaction videos. And if you guys like them or you have videos you want us to react to, you can like DM them to me, Put them in the comments, like whatever it is. I've actually, a couple of these I found, and I wanted to hear your take on them. Some of them, I think for all of them, I want to provide value. So at the end of it, I would maybe say what I would have done differently or anything like that, if that's something that we can do. I don't want it just to be like, the consuming of this content, but it's very interesting, to say the least. So,
yeah, y'all, we ramble at Fat and Weird and all things that are going on in our lives, but we're so entrenched in Fat and Weird that we figured it'd be good to give us something else to talk about on here with y'all. Okay, here we go. I am so blessed to have a husband with packing lunch for.
Lunch with me.
Worth packing a lunch for. That makes more sense. I can't read.
Lunchable. We're going to start with some pepperoni, some salami, and some sharp cheddar cheese.
It's a lot of dietary fat, y'all.
Looking good.
I mean, it's sweet. She's packing him something to eat.
Make him a fruit tray.
Fruit tray. Strawberries.
Yes, I washed them.
Yes, you did.
There's only 2 left. I might as well use them all.
Yup.
That works. I already know y'all are going to think this next part is weird. But he has a new addiction, okay? Sour cream and brown sugar. He swears it tastes like strawberry cheesecake. I don't believe him.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Well.
Wait, we're not done.
Oh.
So he's got his fruit tray.
Health.
Lunchable. Crackers to go with said Lunchable.
Quality protein,
energy,
with
protein shake in case he needs it. And a fruit punch body armor because they're good.
Yeah.
Duh. Peanut butter and honey Uncrustable for his just in case. For his snacks today, we're going to send a Nutter Butter and a Mandarin Orange.
Yep. This man drives some kind of heavy equipment.
And a fork.
I had a few of them that worked for me. Yep, that's what their lunches look like. Or it was, if they were married, they were lucky. That's what they got. If they weren't married, they were single. It was whatever they grabbed from the gas station.
So like off the cuff, I think you nailed it. A lot of fats in there, and then also just like a lot of carbs that I feel like you can replace with other things.
Oh, 100%.
So
and chemicals.
Well, you could put turkey pepperonis in instead of regular pepperonis.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure there's low-fat salami.
Yeah, grilled chicken.
Well, I'm talking about if you want to keep that meal identical.
Oh yeah,
but just make replacements.
Well, for sure, yeah. I mean, if it were me, and I mean, identical would be tough. Yes, you could go the turkey salamis. I'd probably work in some kind of jerky or something in there instead of that.
Well, instead
that much cheese in the middle of we're in Florida. Maybe he's in a cold climate. I don't think so though. That sounds like a belly
Midwest.
Ache. Oh, well, that sounds like a belly ache ready to happen. But I don't know. Those Midwesterners hold their cheese better than maybe.
Well, and if you replace, I know it was light sour cream, but if you replace that with Greek yogurt, which has a very similar taste to it, just like plain Greek yogurt.
Yeah, a cup of brown sugar and sour cream.
And then they make that Swerve brown sugar or like Splenda replacement brown sugar. That would be less carbs there.
Oh, yeah. You could probably chunk 80% of the calories out of this meal.
Yeah. 100%. A 0-calorie energy drink would take out a ton of carbs.
So, that's... it's sweet the lady's packing her husband a lunch. I guess I could say that. You know? That's nice. But public school education system on nutrition might be a little lacking, y'all.
Yeah. And so, I think that when I look at any of these meals or people that say they struggle to lose weight or whatever, there's so many things that you can replace some of these items in, like completely, like Adam's saying, like get rid of some of the deli meat for jerky or find the lower fat or lower carb version of those things, you know?
See, to me though, and I guess, you also been doing it so long that like, that didn't look like food. I'd have to be so hungry to start diving into that.
That's like snacks at the pool.
And it's like, I eat plenty of junk food, but it's worth it, right? Like I eat our cookies. I don't really do any, I eat Slice House pizza or I eat like whatever. I'm not ordering up Domino's, man. I'm just not. Not. If I'm going to eat pizza, I'm going to eat that, or then I'm just going to eat what I eat.
Right.
Which is normally pretty healthy. So y'all should do something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a time and place to do like what Aubrey and I do, which is sometimes make the healthy pizza using like protein powder and Greek yogurt if you really are craving it. But sometimes it's better just to go to Slice House, like you're saying, get a big slice of pizza exactly how you want it, eat it, and then be done with it.
Be done with it.
Because I think so many people ruminate on, I can't have this, and then they get into this cycle, and then all of a sudden, when they do allow themselves to have it, they open that floodgate. And
if you have a favorite food item, it's allowed to be your favorite food item. You'll find if you learn how to cook, there are plenty of things, like there are plenty of like meals, noodle-based meals and stuff that I don't put near the amount of oil that a recipe might call into. And that's the only substitution I make.
Yeah.
And it's delicious just the way it is, or butter or whatever. Just kind of, if you have a favorite food item, if it's pizza, if it's ice cream, if it's whatever, figure out a way to work it in, burn some calories, save some calories somewhere else. Because if you love ice cream, Enlightened, Halo Top, they're not the same. Yeah. If you love pizza, whatever you make in the house ain't the same.
Have you ever used the Ninja Creamy?
It's phenomenal if you haven't had ice cream in a while.
Right.
If you're like, you know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, you can make some pretty good recipes with that creamy. So.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. They've come a long way.
My favorite part about ice cream is like what's mixed into it anyways.
Right.
So
it's
if I
cold,
can
sweet.
So if I can give a healthier base and I can still mix in the kind of stuff I want, it's like a good trade for me, you know?
True that.
All right, let's see the next one, Eastman.
This is my favorite meal to make for family and friends. I start by placing my cheese balls into my crock pot and adding a block of Monterey Jack cheese. Now I'm going to add
a whole
half
loaf
a
of cheese, man.
Of half and
They don't have those.
Half and half.
Follow that
half and
with
half.
A stick and a half of unsalted butter. Now I'm going to use some onion powder, garlic
What are they
powder,
making? Those
turmeric,
cheese balls?
and crushed red pepper. I also like to
cheese
top
puffs?
with some sharp cheddar cheese. Cook on high for an hour and a half and then start to stir and break your balls. I also like to break up the cheese block. Cook for 1 more hour on high. Pour your pasta.
Okay.
And now I'm going to put some pasta water into my cheese and blend.
Okay, I guess.
Time to put it all together.
I ain't eating that.
I'm going to mix that all well and top
at the end, it doesn't.
And parsley. Grab yourself a big scoop.
What is that on top?
Take a bite
Ham?
and enjoy. So easy and so good.
Undercooked bacon?
Try it.
Yeah, bacon on top.
Undercooked. Ham.
Aubrey and I investigated this account a little bit more. I feel like they do stuff. They always do something really outrageous to like get people to comment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like it's just corn starch and whatever that's been like puffed in a fryer. So it probably breaks down to thickener or something. Thick enough with all the cheese, man. That's more cheese than I don't eat a lot of cheese, man.
I mean, I literally
looking disgusting.
Yeah, at that, I literally can't help but think that there's 800 grams of fat in there.
And then
or more.
No.
There's that thing right there. No lie, without the pasta, that little crock pot area alone would be like over 10,000 calories.
Oh, yeah, easy. It's a whole loaf of cheese.
Loaf of cheese
in the cheese loaf section.
I
don't know if I've seen a block. What do you use a block of cheese that big for? It's like a commercial size cheese.
Hey,
it barely fits in the crock pot. This is like
can you pass
3 packs or more of cheese.
Can you pass me the loaf of cheese?
Yeah, man. Well, right? What do? Pass that around the table and slice yourself off some?
The funniest thing
is they have that up where you're at, Eastman? I feel like that's like a loaf of cheese loaf. Is it like next to the butter? You keep it warm and like, how do you serve that?
My favorite are the comments on this. America doesn't deserve free health care. Thank God the butter is unsalted. Otherwise,
y'all
are
so not making a case for health care right now.
Your family better off eating that crock pot.
Yeah, dude. I'd be breaking down trying to eat the porcelain before I ate all that cheese.
Oh, man. All right, let's see the next one.
A millionaire became homeless to prove that he could become a millionaire again without anything. In 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, Mike Black wanted to show
Not a great
that
time.
He could go from nothing to something with a bit of hard work to inspire people. He started with a cell phone, 1 pair of clothes, no place to live, drained his bank account to $0, cut himself off from his network, and had 12 months to make this happen. First, he used a couch surfing app and was able to get a spot in a nice gentleman's RV for free. He got free stuff from Craigslist and sold them on Marketplace with which made him a few $100. He eventually got a job as a telemarketer, paying about $35,000 a year, but still had a long way to go. Eventually, he got enough to lease a property and then sublet the rooms. But throughout this whole experience, he never once slept on the streets. And even with that, he had to end the project 2 months early because his mental and physical health was crumbling. He ended up being $935,000 short of his $1 million goal and admitted it was the worst time of his life.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stories where people like try to like start out the zero.
Cardone did it, and then the pandemic hit, and I think he had to like stop or something, or it was like, I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I don't know what he did, what he was successful, but was it Undercover Millionaire or no?
Yeah,
some version of that. He had a TV show. I mean, I would say that if the guy was able to accumulate $65,000 in cash, because it said he was that short, that'd be impressive. But otherwise, like, you would need to go find a struggling business and through some skill that you had, get them to agree to equity or a percentage of the lift to come anywhere close to. And whether you could do it in 12 months or not without your network, how am I going to trust you enough to be responsible for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you could get a hold of a tired business owner that was like, wanted to do, you know, I was like, all right, screw it. I believe that you can run this.
Or owner finance it to where you. Essentially they're going to take their payout over a long time so you can skim off the top for a while.
In which case you could be a paper millionaire, or if you had like tech smarts or something, maybe you could somehow blow because stuff goes wildfire. Even then, it takes time to write code.
Well,
so you could pre-raise, you could do a bunch of stuff to get the million. But
if you start with nothing, you'd have to get some kind of money to buy a laptop and then like all the internet
library and it up.
I know, right? I think it's a lot more difficult than people make it out to be. I think a lot of times people want to act like anyone, everyone can literally become a millionaire within a year if they just applied themselves.
You know what I would say, though? The man giving up all his money is one thing. Not having access to his network is probably the biggest detriment. Like, I know other business owners. So I know people that, hey, can I stay on your couch? Or, hey, you got a guest room or something? Hey, can I work I'm struggling. Can I do something? So like the getting of a job, the getting of a not $1 million job. I don't know all those guys, but maybe. I mean, even then it just depends.
Yeah.
You know, you go take over somebody. Obviously I got some sales experience. So the potential there is like, who can I get a hold of that'll let me sell the most expensive thing? Cause it's a, percentage game.
Right.
Cause I mean, you could spend all year on one yacht sale and make $1 million and take the 12th month, you know what I mean? Get nothing all year, depending depending on the size of the sale.
The commissions, I mean, like you get your real estate license, go to California, sell one home,
sell an apartment complex. Yeah, I mean, like I have a professional connection with a guy who last year did $1 million in 2 transactions, wholesaling multifamily.
Yeah,
so he got 400-something thousand and $600,000 position.
But I mean, I bet he worked long hours
and he knows everybody and is on the phone with everybody all day, every day, and is everywhere somehow.
So I think it's possible, but again, like you said, losing out on your network. But he doesn't give up his network. Yeah, that's the hardest. That's really hard because also it's just like you have people in your network that financially wouldn't be able to help you, but would maybe be like, yeah, you can crash on my couch or something like that. So if you have to say I have like no friends or nothing, that's hard because there's not many people in this world that have nobody.
Well, yeah, right. And when you get to the point, and that's always been the hard part, is like, and I don't have a ton of blood family, but I have like, I haven't been a dirtbag, so I have like people that I think would help me to some degree, right? To some degree, let me borrow a vehicle, let me do something. But yeah, when people get so down and out that it's like, they've usually, or they're mentally unstable.
Right.
They've usually just been dirtbag after dirtbag where people go like,
push them away. Yeah. Well, yeah. And you don't like, you don't become like, you don't all of a sudden become homeless, like in the middle of your life with no association to people. Right. So for me, I think it'd be hard to believe that like no one had anyone. I mean, I'm sure.
So
like
the experiment is, I don't really know what he was, cause I truthfully believe you could, with little money, but access to the right network, do whatever you wanted, because without exponentially more money, not having a network, you're not going to be able to make any more of it. Like nobody's going to want to do business with you. They don't know you.
Well, yeah, and I mean, obviously, like for me, I could go get an engineering degree that paid over $100,000 a year, and that would be much easier for me to like start on that journey of like buying and like renting a place, renting out the rooms like he did, but then putting a down payment on a rental property or whatever.
Doing something, making more moves for sure.
It's hard when you were handicapped with a $35,000 a year telemarketing job, which I'm assuming is high stress, no free time, 40 hours working, plus on top of that, you know, that 35,000 is probably just barely meeting your necessities.
Yeah, man. John Rockefeller, right? A man who works all day has no time to make any money.
Yeah.
Interesting quote.
Do we have any more?
Founder of America there.
So this one,
the most miserable place in business is 1 to 3 million. It's the swamp. And the reason for that is because you don't have enough money to get leverage, but you need leverage to make more money.
True.
You're probably in a period where you have to work double time.
True.
Like you have to do your job and you have to do the next version of your job. And some of that is getting more output out of the team you have as well. It's also setting that as the culture of like, we need to get through this hump. And you position it as a benefit for them as like, you will have career growth if this company grows. Like you will be able to have people underneath of you who report to you. Your career will go up. You'll gain in title, you'll gain in pay if we can do these things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean,
we give those speeches to the team, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, I mean, what Fat and Weird 6 years of it, of those, well, let's say 5 years that we've actually gone through, 80% of our 5 years have been in the 1 to 3 million range. Yep. We've had the one outlier 2020 that was above that. And I will say that was like one of the greatest years for me because I was not, I mean, I was stressed on some things, but not stressed financially.
Right.
Whereas now, you know, I'm in that 1 to 3 million and you feel just like every day, like I need 10 times as much help, but don't have the money to pay 10 times as many people.
That's right. Yeah, it's tough, man. And it's really tough to grow through those certain points. 1 to 3 is like the first point, but then and it kind of gets industry specific from there. You have where, you have that at every revenue growth where you're like, I just bought this new equipment that'll allow me to make more money. Now I don't have enough sales to justify it, right? So the transition from e-com over to wholesale, which is doing phenomenal, still has those payment terms and those kind of cost of entry of the market. We were top heavy on e-com. Right? We've talked about this. We were top heavy for what we were doing over there, but wholesale hadn't taken off yet. So there's been this crunch, and we're slowly getting out of that. We're on track to blow way through both of those numbers. Whether or not we hit that next ceiling, though, that's when everything will start feeling tight. We need more help.
Yeah. So 2023 was very difficult because it was like, I would call that our pivot year. The whole year was the pivot year.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say that we weren't profitable because we bought a lot of equipment stuff, but we weren't very profitable if we were at all. It was more of like break even or slightly red, you know? But that being said, I think that a lot of people give up in situations like that. And it takes a lot of work to, like I said, pivot the ship. I feel like, you know, we're like a huge tanker, and to turn, it takes a long time and it's very slow. But once you turn that direction, like you can build up steam and you can truck along.
Well, that's right too. And you know, the transition too, both from all the equipment and processes we've had to put in place, the people, you know, you hire people for one pace and that a culture develops, and leading them to the next one, you know, is tricky. And you can either do it as a leader or, unfortunately, sometimes you have to replace your people. But, you know, you just got to keep motivating everybody and say, this is where we're going. We're going to lead you. We're going to help you. But if you feel like you're dragging your feet or being an anchor to this ship,
yeah,
we're going to have to, you know, see you later.
Yeah, I do agree 100%. The interesting thing that happened is the TikTok ban that came out this week too.
Yeah, they kind of tucked that in the little aid package.
Yeah, I think that there should be single bills. Like, I don't think that you should be able to like throw all this stuff together.
50 different things.
And I think the reason they do that is they want the concessions. They want people to like, they're like, well, I'm giving you this, so you got to do this. And what happens though is you throw in things like TikTok ban. I don't know if people overwhelmingly wanted that or not. Maybe that's the real issue that everyone cared so much about. But because of that, if you scroll down, Eastman, we have some of the stuff.
Yeah, so we basically sent money all over the earth, kept a little, I guess, for immigration and border support, but and still don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, so, I mean, sent $61 billion to Ukraine, It's for ammo, supplies, weapons, and other
61
needs. Bs. And then Israel is $14.3 billion, $10.6 billion for air and missile defense support and replenishing, and additional $3.7 through the State Department.
I feel like we used to send millions of dollars in aid.
Yeah, I do. I really do too. And then it's like Taiwan and Indo-Pacific for $7.4 billion for Taiwan and the Indo-Pacific region. And a lot of it is to support their strategic position, aka China trying to claim them, just like Russia's trying to claim Ukraine.
Right. Yeah.
And then humanitarian aid, around $10 billion is dedicated to humanitarian efforts, which is like Israel, Ukraine, and Gaza. Which, so I don't understand. We're already sending all those places 61, 14, and 7.
What's another $10 billion, right?
Right.
Just sneak it in. Who cares? That's going to Joe Biden's son.
And then $14 billion for immigration priorities and border support. I think that may have been like either the Republican wanted that in there to get some of this stuff.
We need something.
And
ban TikTok.
And I also think that Biden may have wanted that in there too, because I think immigration is probably the biggest black eye on his entire
I would say so. I would say so. There's a lot going on in there, man. But yeah, you nailed it on the head with needing to be able to separate these a little better.
Single bills.
Yeah, man. We've got all this. Scroll down for me again, Eastman. We've got all this stuff in here, money going all over the place. Of course, Ukraine, they're dealing with Russia. $61 billion. I don't freaking know.
I think my biggest complaint is that, after those wildfires in Hawaii, like we didn't send anywhere near this amount of money to our own residents that are paying taxes into the system that allows you to do this. And I think that it's just completely unfair that the government doesn't step in and go, we have a humanitarian need in our own backyard, an entire, majority of a population.
Well, the people
of the state
don't, man. And I don't know why. We're setting up some kind of weird shell. You've got Israel dealing with the stuff they got going on over in Gaza and Palestine. Iran, I think, attacked Israel recently. So depending on what they do, you've got Russia, China, and Iran all, jockeying to be on the same side. I don't know. We have all these agreements. I don't know to what extent. If China invades Taiwan, do we have to do something? If
Taiwan's not part of NATO, so I don't think so.
Okay, then what? Then what are we sending all this money for?
Yeah, so I don't understand how the U.S. became the world police. It feels like
babysitting everybody with money, though. We're a military powerhouse, and I'm not saying we need to go start wars, but
Well, I low key think that the U.S. obviously is supplying that stuff. So people like Lockheed Martin and
they're going to do testing
those
and
kind of
everything
people
over there,
are making all the money for this situation. So it's still that $61 billion going there is going through America to them, but it's not. I still don't think it's right.
I don't either, man. Too much money.
But speaking of defense contractors, Northrop Grumman is conceptualizing moon trains.
That's right,
for
moon trains.
You have to tell me about this, because I think you know a little bit more.
Well, no, I don't. I just saw that they are petitioning the government. They want to get something like $10 billion or whatever for moon trains.
It'll be on the next package.
But I'm confused. If we can build trains on the maybe that's just for planning. Because if we can build trains on the moon, maybe I got my numbers wildly wrong too. Maybe they need $1 trillion. I feel like you need more than whatever we're going to send to Ukraine to build a moon train.
Yeah,
but maybe not. But regardless, why are we spending any thought power on this? We have crisis.
Well, yeah, we don't even have a
solve.
train system that runs across the U.S. at an efficient passenger train or anything system. Right.
So we should get some more Earth trains.
Yeah, I think so. I think Elon Musk has done some studies to be able to connect Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, or something like that in a high speed
Hyperloop.
Yeah, Hyperloop type thing. Yep. I know. Was it? They want to do L.A. to San Francisco.
Not 100%. I know that's some through California, some through Texas because they're.
But yeah, I feel like there needs to be some kind of mass way to move very quickly besides airlines from Jacksonville, Florida. I realize it maybe just need to be made to Las Vegas if you decide to do that. So they need to figure out how to connect them. And I realize you may have to I got to stop in Dallas and get on the northbound train, sure. Whatever. But I just feel like there really should be some more thought behind connecting it, because airline prices are getting stupid.
Well, and it's
again,
if they have an alternate means of doing it, it is a costly thing to launch a jet into the air with a bunch of people on it. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, and I think you can get away with like the high-speed trains over in other countries are all like electrical
bullet trains.
Yeah, magnetism
well.
and stuff like that. ADP had called and left me a voicemail and then texted me like, "Hey, we noticed you'd used our service before. We're just letting you know we're doing 6 months free payroll." I said, "Please don't call me again. We never want to use ADP." It was like one of the worst experiences of our lives. ADP was just so cumbersome. Like every time you called them, they would want to speak to the account owner, and then at some point it was me, and then all of a sudden it was you, and you weren't even on the payroll at that time. And then Aubrey's like trying to handle it, and they won't let her do stuff. And she would spend hours on the phone with them trying to.
You're fired.
Yeah, never again. But yeah, so I actually heard about this morning.
Okay.
Because long story short, a doctor that I used to go to sent me a text message that they were opening up their own practice outside of the other one, and I was like, this seems like a violation of like HIPAA or like even my personal information that you can like reach out to me, like
still feels because of the industry, it still feels like a violation
right.
or something.
Well, so it is. I don't know if you saw. I got a message from the practice like a month later or 2 months later that said, "Hey, we've heard about this. Here's the police report that you can file your evidence as well, because it is a violation of HIPAA and your privacy, which would lead to prison time." But to say that, I asked the doctor when he came in today, I was just like, "Hey, what's the, like, what, do you not have like non-competes for these people and stuff?" And he goes, he's like, "Honestly, I do, but she didn't have one, this doctor that had left." And he said, not to mention the FTC just banned non-competes. And I was like, what? So
it's tough, man. That's going to be tough for the really any industry that has like, trade secrets. I mean, I'm sure certain executives have to be exempt from some of that. And then like solicitation, I'm sure you could still, but like, yeah, that's hard because it's like you could be double man and, you could be playing turncoat, if you will. Like, or
well, yeah,
whatever.
like, because right now, like, I think my sister Ariel, her non-compete is like 3 years,
right.
And it's within a like
certain radius,
30-mile radius of any office she's ever worked at, right? When she's worked at the beach and Rosemary, and she's worked in like, different places. So that really cuts, but essentially this is saying that that wouldn't hold up. She'd be able to do whatever
it
she
makes
wanted to
sense because it kind of stifles and it does allow, like particular her situation because there's multi-office, multi-whatever, that would be tough because you could just spread out and then like prevent anybody from competing in there.
Right.
But on the other end, you do spend time, effort, and resources training your people.
And bringing in the clientele, because sometimes a lot of these people they're not bringing in the clientele. Right. They're just.
So if, you love them, but my marketing efforts went through it and da-da-da-da-da, it's tough. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess something I can think of easily in a situation like this is like your CrossFit gym. You had 4 coaches, 2 of which decide to leave and start their own coaching or their own CrossFit gym across the street.
They weren't quite across the street, but they were, around here.
Yeah.
And so, so in that,
and how did it affect you guys?
No.
Okay.
I mean, initially, right? Always, you always lose a few members. They like them better. Da da da. But in that specific industry, and if you can spin it right, now as long as they do a good job representing the brand, if you will, because it's not a franchise, they don't stop you from doing things. If they do a good job representing the brand, then more people know about us.
Right.
Crumbl out there selling higher priced cookies only opens the door to people who might not have heard about us, but heard about them. And then when you taste comparison, it's a no-brainer. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not necessarily – there's a principle in physical locations, but like a 4-corner principle where like one restaurant opens and it gets business. Well, when that second restaurant opens, it doesn't lose business. More people start going there for that thing, right? Food. And that's why a lot of times they'll set up near each other because that'll be
Home
where people
Depot and
go
Lowe's
for lunch.
go right across the
That's
street from
exactly
each other.
right. So they force their competitors to choose on service, but everybody knows about Lowe's and Home Depot. Everybody knows about certain things. But even if you know about it, if you see Lowe's and you need some hardware stuff, you're going to swing in Lowe's. If they can, now they have to fight on brands,
Right.
and you'll go, just go across the street. I like Home Depot better.
Right.
Or whatever. So.
For me,
Interesting. It's tough.
I always end up going to Home Depot because I can get there the back way without getting onto 23rd
Yeah,
Street.
so competition is never good for the business. It's always good for the buyer until sometimes spreading of what you even do or accepting that your service is a service. Sometimes it can help. Competition can help because they're spreading the drain.
Yeah, overall, I think that I like the idea of the non-compete ban just because I feel like, obviously, I still feel like solicitation and things like that should be out of the question. But if you want to leave a business, set up shop somewhere else, then I think that you have every right to advertise on like public platforms and
Sure.
newsletters, whatever. I just don't think that you should be able to explicitly contact previous clients and things like
dirty.
that. But
yeah, that's dirty.
yeah,
Sure.
I think that's kind of where I would like draw the line because then it's like, if they find out about you and they want to move over there, well, they'll know, right? They show up to the place and you're not there anymore. They ask and say, oh, he opened up his own practice. Like they'll know. But I know like Amy McCormick, she's not McCormick anymore, but you know what I'm talking about. Her non-compete for the chiropractic place was 2 years, and it doesn't expire until July. And she's been honoring it. And I told her, I was like, this would never stand up. I was like, you be able to do this, And she's like, I just don't want to risk it. She's like, I don't want them to come after me.
True that.
But I mean, now she's already in the works because it's literally next month pretty much that she can start doing it. Yep. But I was like, if this would have happened a year ago, she'd been able to start making money because she's literally like not really been working.
Right. Yeah. That's a stifle. That's tough. I don't know. I see both sides of it because obviously we are an employer and we spend a lot of resources training people how to do things.
Yeah.
But at certain levels, like professional levels and stuff like that, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Crumbl. I did want to talk about this. I don't know if you saw it. Crumbl is releasing mini cookies on Mondays. It's like mini Mondays, and it's the mini version of their of the flavors they're launching. It's not all of them, and it's only available in I think 3 or 6 packs or something like that. But I just saw that and I was like, man, it reminds me of whenever we were struggling more and I started like throwing out just extra products. I was like, oh, let's throw out dough cups. Let's throw out this thing.
Please come to my store, man. That's hard. It's a tough business of physical real estate, ebbs and flows,
And the novelty of Crumbl. I mean, the truth is, like, Crumbl built a very powerful brand name for themselves, but I think that, a lot of times that only gets you so far.
Well, you're
a CPG,
Yeah, well, it's tough for a physical location, right? You have I'm going to be there anyway location. I'm shopping and we swing in. Okay, that's a buyer. But I'm not going to go through the trouble of going all the way there to grab cookies from my office. It's not convenient. It's not in the right spot. It's not in the industrial area.
Right.
So you're missing out on like a volume sector that you're just not going to get by being in the hot location. And being in the hot location, you're paying the premium prices and everything else. Yeah, Crumbl franchisees must be scrappy if they're making any money. I don't know how they're.
Yeah, I think that. So, I mean, what I read on the, I guess is the FDC, the SEC that puts out the things. They put out that like the average Crumbl franchise owner now makes around $200,000 a year take home profit for them, which you'd say is pretty good, except you remember the entire initial investment cost. Of
you're in the store running the shit out of that if you're making that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're paying at least half that to somebody who can run it for you.
Right.
And whether or not they run it into the ground or not, whether or not that's inevitable once the hypeness wears off, and or if that, you got to stay on top of your real estate game in that, man. Because if the town is planning on shifting, like even Panama City is about to skirt over towards Sweet Bay with, at least the average of where the center of Panama City is in everyone's mind is about to edge that way when there's a whole nother shopping and retail center, and it's the new one.
Well, yeah, it just reminds you, like 15th Street or Old 98 used to be the hub. That was a thoroughfare. That's where that's all the car dealerships are there.
So you got to pay attention, right? So 231, right? They build that big Publix out there. That starts growing. Now you're you're cutting off who might have
right.
been forced to come to you before. If you're not paying attention to that, what you can even do about it depends on how much really money and resource access you have to, and network.
Yeah, I know that like where Amy's looking at renting is over where the old skate factory used to be, like on Jinx, over there. And it's a pretty good price she's getting for like 2,500 square feet. I don't remember exactly what it came out to be, but it was like $12 a square foot per year, time. So very typical. But then they were talking about Sweet Bay. It was literally like $26 a square foot or something like that to be next to that Publix.
Yeah, and that'll be the get them in rate. And then after that, once it's established, it'll go up from there or down if it declines, but it won't decline.
No. Aubrey actually asked me the other day, she's like, which Publix you think we'll go to, the one in Sweet Bay or the one? Because there's literally, both Publixes are going to be like under 2 miles from each other.
Easily, yeah.
It's probably like, it's probably a mile and a half maybe. Yep. But if you understood the geographic location, they're separate enough.
Yeah, one's going to capture like some pretty large neighborhoods because it's going to kind of be at the mouth of it.
Right.
And then the other one is like more the heart of town still. So.
Right. Like you passing by on the way home if you don't.
I see it affecting Publix shoppers. So like folks who drive past to Winn-Dixie to go shop at a Publix. I see it affecting them, like going, now I have two choices so close to each other.
Right.
But I don't really see it affecting the volume of their business.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see it, though, because
the ability for grab and go and stuff for all the people in that neighborhood, the frequency of people going, and that's the name of the game in grocery.
And it's golf cart friendly. Like,
right.
You know how many people are just going to jump on their golf cart now and go over to Publix when they would have never, ever, hey, we're out of this ingredient.
Yep.
Scratch it.
That's like the one in Watercolor or buy there.
Oh yeah.
The frequency. So you increase. If folks go grocery shopping once per week, they normally use lists and they're detailed and whatever. I go to the store to grab almond milk. I almost never grab just almond milk. Or I go to the store, so it's a...
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, hey, what's that? Or just, I also should get this, or I should get that.
Yeah, so if you increase the number or the frequency that people are coming into your store, then you're just increasing, the chances of selling more products.
Yep.
So
yeah, so it's a I forget, they need like however many bodies, but they need, it's a store volume thing. So a number of transactions per year.
Yeah.
If they increase that,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Also, I couldn't believe how fast it's going up.
I know, dude.
I mean,
they approved it, and then walls are up now.
I don't know. I mean, what's your guesstimate? I mean, you have much more construction background than me. Like, based on what you see right now, how long do you think before it's open?
A year. I mean, if that.
I was thinking it would be. It's
potentially be. I don't know. I don't know the logistics side of like getting all the. But
I could have swore they finished.
I think the shell is going to be done in a month. And then I don't know how long the rest takes.
I literally think they may open by the end of this year.
Hell yeah.
Because
shoot for it.
Well, I just saw, the one on 231, I don't think that thing took but like a year to build. Total.
I came out of nowhere for me when I went up there. I was like, holy moly, what are they building?
Well,
it's already built.
I knew that Publix was going in there, and then that took a while for them to start breaking ground. But the moment they broke ground, like I think this is what I'm learning too. We're selling our land to D.R. Horton. A lot of these companies have already figured out what the land they want, the plans and all that stuff, while someone else owns the land, potentially. Yep. And then the moment they get it and get the green light, like they start. They line everything up.
That's exactly right. Our developers would go in and they'll tie up the property. So on the fast food side, they'd have that thing 90-day close with multiple 90-day extensions and everything else just to make sure.
Yeah, we're 60-day due diligence and then 30-day close.
During that time is when you start doing GO and all the reports you need to do to find out what you can build on the property or whether or not you can do any modifications or whatever your business plan is for that piece of real estate. You start doing all those plans, gives you time to back out. It's expensive, but it's way cheaper than getting a hold of something you can't do nothing with.
Well, yeah, and in the D.R. Horton method, they literally contacted us and said, hey, we want you to get the DO. This is exactly what we want. And essentially, we're eating all that cost now. So that way, they know it's going to be exactly how they want it so that when they get the land, they can do what they want to do instead of being told, halfway through that they can't. And then 2, they don't have to bear any of the burden of cost until the purchase. Yep. And then when they actually purchase it, everything's so done that they just
it's buying guarantees, right? And so we've talked about this before.
Buying time too,
yeah. So these bigger companies that do buy companies like ours or other entities, they do so because, I mean, how the hell are they gonna find somebody that can go out in the market and just bend it and make it work for them? So they want to buy the guarantee. They could try. You go buy the equipment we have. You go try it, but like most fail. So like they'd rather buy the working thing and try to optimize that. You know, most businesses fail. So yeah, kind of.
What is how many fail within the first like 5 years? Is that what it is?
It's minimal. Yeah, I don't know what all the statistics are today versus before.
It's greater.
It's normally like half. So it's like that don't last. And the 10-year mark. So it's like first 2 years or something like that, and then it's before like at the 5-year mark, 2 to 5 year mark, out of usually fatigue, kind of the react we did of that revenue, and just like I'm tired of this shit. I could take home this much working somewhere else.
Right.
And that's just tough.
You feel like you're drowning.
And then it's at the 10-year mark of if you got through the fatigue, or you're just, I don't know, built for it or something different to hang in there longer. Then at that point, I think people start realizing like, I either have something I can hold on to, or time to
bail.
Hang up the cleats. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did you see if you could find that other video that I sent you? Because I definitely want to see that one if we can do it, because it was funny. I think it's a new trend going around, so I want to get your hot take on it.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, I think that, you know, like you were saying too, the struggle from that 1 to 3 million, you do it for so long, and then finally you're like, I mean, Aubrey and I had that conversation before we pivoted Fat and Weird. I'm like, if we don't pivot, then I would rather just end it and move, because the point was like we were working so hard, and I was like, I could make way more money just being an employee.
Yeah.
But you know, or even I was like coming up with ideas about turning downstairs into climate controlled storage.
Yeah, I mean, oh, for sure. Yeah,
You know?
I mean, you could have pivoted just on the real estate alone, but this is going to be big. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. You find it? Rock, paper, scissors? Yeah. Okay. I'm excited for this one because I think that it's hilarious.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Y'all. What is this? These two ladies are playing rock, paper, scissors, and I don't know if
you win, you get to eat, and the other person has to run to the tree and back, and then you do it again.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And homegirl on the left just can't. It's good for her, though. She's getting her laps in. So it's a fast food eating challenge between two people who need to take a break from fast food. And, gosh, it's probably full calorie soda there. Just burgering it up.
Well, there's an inhaler on the table, Adam.
Gosh,
do you see it? See, that girl finally won.
They look
like housing it, bro.
Yeah, this chick is straight body in this hamburger, y'all. I don't, gosh. I'm not even trying to be mean. I don't know what to say here.
I feel like this is a choking hazard.
I feel like
they're breathing very heavy. You're breathing very heavy, and then you're trying to stuff food into your mouth like quickly. I've never seen 2 nuggets disappear that fast.
I feel like this is how you have a heart attack.
Yeah. Anyways, but
like how you have one.
But no lie, there's a inhaler on the table, and yeah.
I feel like this should just be a public service announcement. Just like, don't do this. You're like choking, and I don't know if y'all's hearts are used to sprint. If we're gonna call it sprinting. I'm happy to see they're exercising. I'm not trying to clown on them, but then they're turning around and eating cheeseburgers. So I don't know what to say here. I want to be nicer and say like, good for y'all if y'all are like exercising at the park. That ain't what's going on here, y'all.
So I saw another video after this one of people doing that, and it was this guy and this girl, younger
I'm surprised
people.
The internet has not done way funnier things with this.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
It was a young guy and a girl, and the guy is running back as the video starts, and then he wins. and then the girl takes off, and you realize that the girl is handicapped, and she's in a walker, and she's moving like much slower than someone running, but she's like going all the way down and back. And
if there's people clowning on themselves, or she's having a good time.
I think they're making fun of this video, which I think
she's
was
having a good
funny.
time with it, man. I've known folks with handicaps and stuff, and they do it well. So
yeah,
but it's always cringe. I'm like, I don't know if I'm like, you're laughing. You seem like you're having a good time. I feel like I'm laughing at you.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah. But no, I saw that video and I was like, I have to see Adam's take on it.
Dude, I don't know. I wish more people would work out and not eat like that. Because they ain't doing themselves no favor. They ain't burning more calories than they're using right now, period.
Yeah, and I think that people think that like you're never allowed to eat like that and be healthy, but you can. I mean, Aubrey and I mean, we had Taco Bell.
If this was the only time these girls ate like that, it'd be phenomenal, but it's not.
Yeah.
Just calories.
Well, and I think that's an example you set as a family, right? If your family constantly eats fast food, your kids see that and they think that's normal, and then as they grow up, they continue that thing.
Well, and they're your neurochemicals and everything, man. Like when you eat junk food, things are released in your body. You start
craving it.
Well, not just craving it, but like kids today, short attention span, right? Our phones and all that dopamine flooding. Food does the same thing to where not having it doesn't feel like boredom. It feels like a withdrawal. It feels like if only I just did this thing, I'd fix the state of being I'm in right now. And people do that with food, and it gets dangerous.
Yeah, I actually saw something the other day that said that food addiction is the hardest addiction.
Because you just grab it.
Well, not just that. If you have a gambling addiction, just don't go in the casinos anymore, right?
True.
If you can never try cocaine or weed or meth.
Yep.
You can just never do that. But you have to eat food. That's right. And so I think a food addiction is a very difficult thing. So Adam and I definitely know that and
it's conscious, it's top of mind because it's so easy. I mean, it's easy to sit on the couch and go.
Well, it's only gotten easier too. You literally DoorDash our cookies directly to the couch. You cannot get up.
Absolutely.
Which, I will say, go ahead and DoorDash.
Yeah, DoorDash our cookies, please. But keep a healthy lifestyle, right? Like, the majority of your life. I think that's a funny way to do a cheat meal for healthy people and stuff like that. And not that, whatever, I'm not trying to get flamed up in here, but I don't know. Use food as celebration, right? Y'all have memories over macros and all that stuff. That's a phenomenal way of saying it. But like, y'all are eating fast food. Y'all are eating McDonald's level quality food.
Well, I know like we go on this cruise. What I normally do is like breakfast, I usually eat pretty healthy, like egg whites and some meat and stuff like that. And then lunch, I will sample a bunch of stuff. And then usually I sample the desserts too.
Sure.
And then when dinner comes around, I just kind of eat whatever I want to eat and maybe indulge a little bit more. Yep. And I do that for the whole week. And at the end of the week, I probably gained a little bit of weight. And then I come home and I get back on my routine and I lose that weight or whatever,
Easy.
Not to mention.
I do it daily life, man. I try to crush protein until I'm done. And then I kind of sort of eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
Mostly, I just don't want sticks of butter and stuff in my food. You know what I mean? So it's like I've conditioned myself to go like, I want pad thai. I don't need to start with a cup of oil.
Right.
Spray, good. Start cooking, add the sauces.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's but again, food is a hard topic to even talk about sometimes because I know there's like a lot of differing opinions on things.
Well, and the levels of like health or what my metric is, so I think that people have gotten just on average far too comfortable being so fat and carrying so much. I don't care. I'm not saying people need to walk around with their abs showing or anything to that regard. I understand we live a more stagnant life and food is easier to come across than ever, and people may not have the time to exercise or some version of that as much as maybe they'd like. But, dude, if you got to like waddle around, man, and like turn sideways and stuff like that, like how do your loved ones not like if we're all going on a walk?
If everyday life is a burden, or whenever you go do things that quote unquote normal people do and they have to make accommodations for you, then at that point you're like, hey, I'm an outlier. This is probably not healthy. Like for example, we were on the plane, I think recently when a guy sat down near us and had to get the seatbelt extension in there. And again, I'm not making fun of anybody, but I think that at some point You know, and if they're trying to lose weight, then that's one thing.
Absolutely.
But if you're not trying to lose weight and you're not trying to make your life better, because it isn't about being, like you said, not about having abs. It's not about any of that stuff. In fact, I don't even think that you need to have abs to be healthy. Sometimes having abs is actually unhealthy.
It's visual. That's looking at a person. I'm not even saying from a look perspective.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and I'm on the more active side, but like, you can't like run up that flight of stairs. You can't like
right.
move faster than that to go get something for yourself. You falling down would be like
the end of it for you.
For you. Like, and you're not super old. I don't know, man. Like, I just couldn't abide. I don't know.
Well, one thing you always do really well is like when we go on trips and stuff, you do eat healthy. Like when we go out to eat, like I'll be like, what are you ordering, Adam? And he'll tell me, I was like, damn, I need to order something healthy.
Yeah, man. I just really try unless it's like that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then it's whatever I want. So, like I said, I'll do that, and I don't get cravings really until I get bored and I try to stay busy as hell during the day.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me is obviously if I smoke at night, then I want to eat more. But also too, I think at night I start to graze and munch because I am bored. And I know that, I'm watching TV or Aubrey and I are talking and stuff, but like that, I should just go to bed probably because it's just like I linger.
Well, and I know you're kind of having to deal with the same stuff that I'm dealing with. My brain is going on something all day, or I'm on or I got to shoot over here and deal with some problem that's going on, to where like I'm not bored hanging out with my wife, but my brain is like going like I could be doing something else, right? I could be chewing and processing and whatever. So I think it's even part of that. But
yeah, I have this weird personality quirk or whatever where I want to be able to do multiple things at once. I feel like if I'm not doing at least two things at once, like on my walking pad and in a meeting, because I'm killing two birds with one stone, or I'm doing this and this. Like, I don't know. It's something I got to get used to.
And the world's making us worse, but whatever. Just figure out a way to manage it. And you'll be right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for the podcast. I think my alarm's literally going to go off in a minute to do our Southwest flight. So thanks for watching. Do hard shit. You're worth it.